Hey class, so we're into this first unit, and I want to just do a little bit of an overview, getting into this folder, the Writing Editing Resources folder, and I'm certainly hoping everybody has spent some time with this already, but I want to focus particularly on the second item, the Rhetorical Terms and Appeals Help folder, because you're writing a rhetorical analysis in this first unit. So, first thing, if you haven't watched these videos, I would suggest you start there, particularly if you're not familiar with rhetoric or the idea of rhetorical analysis. These guys do a pretty good job of just, again, providing an overview and doing it in a little bit more entertaining way than perhaps just me running my mouth or typing up notes. So I would hit each one of these if I were you, and this takes you straight to YouTube. And while I'm not going to let that play, I would. It's about a 6-minute video. I really like the approach this guy offers, and the idea of sort of the choices and effects of those choices that he emphasizes in his video. I think that's a valuable and very effective way to approach rhetorical analysis because even with your advertisements that you're going to be analyzing here for this first unit, those advertisers make a series of choices. They choose certain colors, they choose certain words, they choose certain images, and your job essentially is to unpack those choices and try to uh, tell your audience why those choices make the ad effective or not. So you can see there's other videos here on rhetoric and rhetorical analysis. If you were going to dip into any of these other ones, I would suggest this fellow here, this Sean Rowdy. I think he does a good job. It's a little bit longer video and it gets a little bit wordy, but nonetheless, I think just getting a good sense of, he's got some very good rules. I think that I certainly emphasize too, but again, just to some students do better with having somebody standing in front of you telling you these things. So uh, don't hesitate to spend some time with these videos. And as far as the written resources or some of the handouts, I would suggest students start simply after you watch the videos, making sure you have a solid idea of the definition of these three terms because these are going to serve as the focal points for the rhetorical analysis. Now, you're going to be using some other terms as well, um, ideas like audience, tone, style, claims, but uh, these are going to serve as the three main focal points through which you're going to perform your analysis. And one nice thing about this and the other handout that I'll show you is the fact that they break these down and basically tell you what to look for when you're trying to identify pathos, when you're trying to identify ethos, logos, what have you. Um, this particular handout, I think, gives you some good questions to ask yourself. And some of these are more geared toward a written text, but there's no reason that some of them can't be applied to a visual text as well. And this last item in this second portion of the folder here also does a nice job, I think, and I'm just going to scroll down here to the second part of this handout. Um, how is ethos created? That's a question students ask themselves quite often when they're first getting into these exercises. Gives you a definition of it, and then pay close attention to what these bullet points offer as simply, again, entry points into a more specific analysis of ethos as well as pathos. They do the same thing here and with logos. So this is a particularly helpful handout. And getting back up to this chart, when you're dealing with pathos, you're dealing with emotion. So the idea of getting as specific as possible with the way you identify what emotion is being suggested. So if you have an image and you say that there's emotional appeal being portrayed by that image, then you want to try to land over here on this side as far as saying this is the emotion being suggested. Then of course you have to explain why. And notice that I used suggested as opposed to something more absolute like this is the emotion, uh, because it's all just suggestions. It depends on the audience and how they receive it. So we want to make sure we don't speak in categorical terms necessarily when we're dealing with pathos. So that's a very helpful handout. And then I also give you some annotated material, and both of these items are actually from English 111 class, and their analysis of a speech. But again, much like the student samples that are in here, one of which focuses on an article, the other one's focused on speeches. The text doesn't really matter. It just these are good examples of how to execute a rhetorical analysis here in this folder, and these are instructions and examples and explanations of various pieces and parts of rhetorical analyses that are meant to be instructive and helpful, no matter what you're writing about. Okay, so now there's other items I could cover here, but I think I'm going to leave it to you to explore this and come back to me with any questions. Hopefully, if there's something that needs further explanation, I will get some questions and I'll put together an announcement to address those questions. But certainly, spending some time with this material can only help you in terms of feeling more comfortable and ending up with a more successful product at the end of this particular unit. And so, again, questions, feel free to send them my way, but this is just a reminder to make sure you spend time with this folder. Okay, see you later.